Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to the very first video of Learn Buddhism channel. This video series is titled as Introduction to Buddhism. In this video series, we are going to discuss about the fundamentals of Buddha's teachings, and we are going to discuss them, we are going to learn them, and we are going to explore them together. Feel free to ask any questions that you have and you want to know about Buddhism in the comment section so that we can discuss about them in the future. So from this very first video, we are going to discuss the question, what is Buddhism? Now, I know that we have done a couple of videos in this title in our main channel, but from this video, we are going to discuss about it in detail from the Buddhist scriptures. Now, what exactly Buddhism? Buddhism is a teaching, it's a spiritual teaching that was emerged in ancient India. And Buddhism was founded by one of the greatest spiritual leaders and spiritual teachers who ever lived on this earth. That is none other than Siddhartha Gautama, the Supreme Buddha. Now, the correct way to pronounce the word Buddha is Buddha. It's not Buddha or it's not Buddha, it's Buddha. So the Buddha's teachings are called Buddha Dhamma in Pali language. Now, Pali is a Middle Indo-Aryan liturgical language, and Pali is the main language that the majority of the Buddhist scriptures are written in. And Buddha himself spoke a dialect of Middle Indo-Aryan language called Magadhi Prakrit. So, in Pali language, the Buddha's teachings are called Buddha Dhamma. Now, the word Dhamma has an array of meanings, and it has many meanings, but in this context, we use it as Buddha's teachings. Buddha Dhamma means Buddha's teachings. So basically, Buddha teaches us the way to purify our mind by eliminating all the unwholesome states from our mind and by cultivating the wholesome states from our mind. Now, Buddha offers us a path to practice and to cultivate these wholesome qualities in our mind, and that path is called the Noble Eightfold Path. We will discuss about the Noble Eightfold Path in future videos. The core teaching of Buddhism is known as Four Noble Truths. Now, the Four Noble Truths offers a systematic diagnosis and a solution for the innate nature of life, and that is the suffering. Now, Buddha teaches us that life is characterized by suffering, or in another word, life is characterized by unsatisfactoriness, which we call in Buddhism the dukkha. Dukkha is the first noble truth. Now, when we talk about the dukkha, the Buddha teaches us that the practitioner, the person who follows the Buddha's path, should see this unsatisfied nature or see this suffering as a part of life and also as it is, the true nature of suffering. Now, what is the true nature of suffering? The suffering is impermanent or it is subjected to change. But average person or the normal person does not see the true nature of suffering or this changing nature or this impermanent nature of suffering. So in First Noble Truth, the goal is to see the suffering as it is, or to see this unsatisfied nature as it is. And also as the second Noble Truth, the Buddha teaches us that there is a cause for this unsatisfied nature, or there is a cause for this dukkha in life. And that cause of suffering is known as tanha, which is most commonly translated as craving. Now, craving or tanha has the another meaning that is the thirst, the unsatisfied thirst in our mind, right? The craving has this unsatisfied nature in our mind. The Buddha teaches us that wanting things to be permanent and viewing things to be permanent is causing us suffering, right? So this tanha creates this craving to hold on to things and wanting things to be permanent and trying to hold on to things not letting them to change, but the things always, our experiences and things and everything around us has this innate nature, unavoidable nature of changing in there. So we are holding on to things to be permanent and expecting them to be permanent while they are being impermanent. This nature of holding on, or this nature of craving, is known as tanha. So the Buddha teaches us that understand this is what causes you the suffering. And by eliminating the cause for suffering, by eliminating the root of suffering, which is the tanha, you can eliminate the suffering. The Buddha gives a nice simile for this process. The Buddha says, think of the suffering as a tree. Now, if a person needs to remove the tree totally, once and forever, he should not cut it from the stem and go home. What he should do? He should remove it from the roots, right? If he removes the roots, then the tree will never grow back. The Buddha says that no matter how many times that we try to avoid suffering, the suffering will come back. But if you avoid, or if you remove the root of suffering, the suffering will never come back. And that is why in third noble truth, which is known as Nirodha in Buddhism, the cessation of suffering is achieved by removing the root of suffering, which is the tanha. And as the fourth noble truth, Supreme Buddha introduces us a path to eliminate this suffering. And that is the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is a moral and a psychological development practice which is totally dedicated and totally focused to eliminate the suffering. And this elimination of suffering is known as Nibbana in Buddhism. Now, the word Nibbana is so important in Buddhism. It is known as the highest achievement or the highest goal in Buddhism. But describing it as a goal in Buddhism is not an appropriate way to describe it. But Nibbana can be translated as extinguishing, or blowing out, or fading out. So what do we really extinguish in Nibbana? In Nibbana, the three fires of mind are extinguished. What are these three fires? Raga, which is translated as lust; dosa, which is translated as anger or hatred; and moha, which is translated as delusion. So these are the three fires that Buddha teaches us that makes our mind impure. And once one extinguish these three fires in mind, he become tranquilized. He become extinguished. And that is the state of Nibbana in Buddhism. And this is the core teaching that the Buddha taught for his entire 45 years after awakening. And he dedicated his whole life to help the humankind to extinguish the flames of anger and lust and delusion. And millions of people got the help from the Buddha's teachings and tranquilized their mind. So now let's focus on these three Dhammapada verses which explains about what Buddhism is. Verse number 183, the Buddha says, Sabba papassa akaranang, kusalassa upasampada, sachitta pariyodapanang, etang buddhana sasanang. The Buddha says, to avoid all evil, to cultivate wholesome qualities, and to cleanse one's mind, this is the teaching of the Buddha. Now in Buddhism, a bigger space is given to cleanse the mind, to purify the mind. In Buddhism, we believe 100% purified state of mind is possible. And that is why the Buddha offers us a path to purify the mind, to develop our mind to a purified state. And also in verse number 183, the Buddha says, Kanti paramang tapotitikha, nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha, nahi pabbajito parupagati, samano hoti parang vihetanto. The Buddha says, patience is the highest virtue. The Buddhas say that Nibbana is supreme. One who destroys others is no monk. One who harms others is no monk. Now, in Buddhism, patience is considered as the highest virtue. When we talk about patience, the Buddha praises the patience with a deeper understanding about the life. Usually, we become patient out of fear, or we become patient because there is no choice. But Buddha teaches us, once you have a better understanding about the true nature of life, once you have the better understanding about the impermanent nature of life, and once you have a better understanding about the dukkha or the suffering in life, you can easily be patient in a more healthy way. So that is the patience that Buddha considered as the highest virtue. And also the highest achievement or the highest goal, if it is to say, in Buddhism is Nibbana. And also the Buddha says, the one who destroys others is not a monk. Now, a monk should be totally committed and totally dedicated his life to the spiritual practice of himself and for the others. Now, if one uses the violence and if one harms others, the Buddha says that is not a monk. And in verse number 185, the Buddha says, Anupavado anupaghato pati mokkecha sangvaro mattanyutacha bhattasming pantangcha sayanasanang adhichittecha ayogo etang buddhana sasana. Not disparaging others, not destroying lives, practicing restraint by monastic rules, moderation in food, dwelling in faraway secluded forest monasteries, and devotion to meditation, this is the teaching of the Buddhas. Now, in Buddhism, a bigger space is given to non-violence and non-harming. And also the Buddha says that practice the restraint by monastic rules. And also the Buddha explains the value of being disciplined in life. For a monk, there is a set of monastic rules that should be practiced. And these set of monastic rules, these are called patimokkha in Buddhism. This set of monastic rules are specially designed for a monk to make his spiritual life easy and totally focused to the highest goal in Buddhism, which is the Nibbana. And that is why it is known as patimokkha. And also, the Buddha values the moderation in food. Now, what is moderation in food? Buddha says that know the purpose of food. When you're eating, know why you're eating. So, as a monk, we have this practice called pratyaveksha before our meals. Usually, when we take our meals to our hand, we do this reflection. We always remember to ourselves, what is the purpose I'm eating? So the purpose should be as a monk, not to show off your body with building muscles and becoming beautiful. It's not the purpose. And you should not eat food just to build muscles and show off. The Buddha says you should have foods to make your spiritual life easier and to live a healthy life and to eliminate the discomfort that you gain by hunger. That is the only purpose that we have foods as monks. And also, the Buddha adores living a simple and a minimalist life where there are less distractions. By doing all these things, the Buddha says that you should focus on the psychological development, your mental development. So this is what Buddhism is all about. And this is a little introduction to Buddhism and what it is. So if you have any questions about this video or about the things that you want to learn about Buddhism or curious about Buddhism, let me know in the comment section so that we can discuss in the future videos as well. So until next time, stay safe. Namo Buddhaya.